Hey everybody, welcome back. We are gaming. We're playing some Isaac. What can you say, man? I know I start every video now by saying, what can you say? But we'll play regular Eve boss rush, maybe? Maybe. It could happen. Stranger things have been known to happen, right? Maybe. Sorry, that's an annoying way to start a video. Anyway, feeling good. Like 100% better. I don't know if I don't know if the human brain is capable of understanding when it's 100% better consciously. I think it's one of those that you'd need to go like into the diagnostics. You would need to go into that. You know when you boot your computer and it flashes like the motherboard? You know what? Let's just do this. This is kind of sick. It flashes like your motherboard firmware for like a second, and if it stays up for longer than 2 seconds, you're like, oh no, this whole thing is bricked. I think that's what human beings need. I guess that's what like a doctor does. Is like, you know, he puts his finger in your ear and then is like, bite down on this, and then all of a sudden he gets access to your BIOS. Not in a weird way, in a nice way, maybe, I guess. Let's see what we got here. So I guess I can't in confidence. I'm being pedantic for no reason. I can't in confidence say that I'm 100% better, but I'm at least in that like discernible, like, you know, 90 to 99% range. Feeling great and eating good in the neighborhood. And that's pretty much all I got, I guess. It said tapped out. Some of you may have noticed, you know, not in this video, but if you watch other videos, my wife, indeed, for my birthday, she turned me into a Peloton husband. Instead of Pickle Rick, I've become Peloton Rick. And I know people have strong opinions about Peloton for a number of reasons, one of which is that, look, I don't know the details of the proceedings, okay? So one thing what I was gonna say is their treadmill resulted in some deaths, but I also without all I'm gonna say, okay, all I'm saying is, hold on, we know what's in this, right? What is this? That's the blue button. Honestly, we need to open it because otherwise our next trinket will be blue button anyway. That's not blue button. This is Azel Stump. My mistake. I don't know the specifics, okay? All I'm going to say is that, and this is not taking the corporation's side, I bet it's not the only treadmill on Earth that's led to, you know, injury and loss of life. That's all I'm saying. It's why even in like the late 90s, you get on a treadmill, you had to like strap a red clip to your shirt just in case you had a heart attack? You had a heart attack while you were running. That way you couldn't, like, you know, sue the Nordic Track company or something like that. I'm just saying I'm not just because I own one, I'm not saying it wasn't due to a fundamental design flaw or something like that. I'm just saying, you know, it's a tragedy. At the same time, I don't know the specifics, okay? So that's one reason. Another one is that, and I've talked about this a few times. I apologize if you've heard it. There was a viral commercial with like the Peloton wife, as she became known, that everybody dunked on. It was like a vlog that this actress had made. Like, she's the actress in the commercial, and she was like, oh my god, my husband just got me Peloton for Christmas. This is so exciting, you know, etc., etc. And like the ad is long, and it shows her like getting up early to work out, and like, you know, the ad got dunked on a lot by people who, I don't want to say astutely, but it's not wrong necessarily to look at an ad like that and be like, there's an interpretation of this where she could be mad because her husband basically got her a chore for Christmas. That being said, I always thought, even back then, even when I remember, like, it was probably 2 or 3 years ago, I was on Twitter and there was an ad, or like I saw it get retweeted into my feed that was like, oh my god, you have to look at this completely tone-deaf Peloton ad. I can't believe someone in the marketing department approved this. Maybe this was like my first, you know, descent into full boomerdom. I didn't reply and go like, I don't see what's wrong about this, but I did, like, you know, I watched it, and I was like, it just seems like an ad to me. It doesn't seem like there's anything particularly crazy. And I was always surprised by the idea that, like, maybe it's a difference, depending on, who gets it for who, let's say. But I was surprised by the number of people who were like, this ad is like, not unacceptable. Nobody was like, this is, outrageous. But a lot of people were like, this is like so tone deaf for a company to have like the worst husband of all time get his wife an exercise bike for her, for Christmas or her birthday or whatever. Anyway, take me down here. So Kate and I have talked about it before. I got out of shape for sure over, COVID and the surrounding, dad duties in that period as well, and I know it. She was like, would you be like a Peloton, would you be mad at me if I turned you into a Peloton husband? And I was like, no, I'd be stoked. I don't need my wife to, insinuate to me that I, can stand to lose a few pounds and improve my ability to walk up a flight of stairs without getting slightly winded. I can observe it in myself, and it's worth changing. So, look, all I'm saying, I'm having a good time with this so far. The thing I'll say about exercise, and it comes in fits and spurts for me, which I guess is the way that it happens for a lot of people, not just with respect to exercise, but, this is the 35th time in my life I've ever started like an exercise regimen. Many of those stuck around, by the way, until something inconvenienced me, and then they fell by the wayside 8 months later. But I think people sometimes, they get way too, they get way too worried about, my mistake, the perfect way to do things. The Peloton's nice, but you don't need a Peloton. You could just get a trainer, for your existing bike, and, drag your existing bike inside of your house, and then connect it to an iPad that's hooked up with the Peloton app, and blah, blah, blah. And, you totally could, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, we already got it here, and it's, a one, stop shop. It's a solution, and, I'm using it. I'm having a great time with it so far. So I have to be honest, I have previously, I've been like a bit of a weirdo when it comes to cardiovascular exercise. I always thought that using a stationary bike was insanely boring. And running on the treadmill was superior to running outside, which is a situation that I know not everybody agrees with. Most people, I think, maybe they find the stationary bike boring, but most people, I think, I've heard them describe running on the treadmill as torture. Outside is an adventure, but a treadmill inside, that's torture. I always like the treadmill more because it gives you careful. You control your pace with buttons instead of your legs, which I think is, it allows you to kind of chart your progress that much more easily, and you can watch something on your phone or listen to music instead of just looking at people outside. I guess you could listen to music while you're running outside as well, but I'm just, I don't know. But the weather's bad, doesn't matter, it's still perfect conditions inside, most of the time at least. If you've got a landslide inside, you got other problems to deal with, let's put it that way. You could put your run off for a day. But this is I have to be honest, I've been enjoying this stationary, but I've never had if you're not familiar with the way that the Peloton apps work, they give you access to live classes. I don't know if I should have taken that. I think I'm going to take this, though. They give you access to live classes with instructors and stuff like that, and there actually is a video camera on the front of the screen, so instructors can see you. I turned that off immediately. Look, I get that that's part of the point, and for a certain type of person out there that appeals to them, you can, make new friends that like going to spin class with you, and you can see them and say hi, maybe. I turn mine off immediately. I don't want anybody popping into the class being like, oh, is that my 6th favorite YouTuber? And I'm like huffing along to Bruno Mars or something like that. But there's also on-demand classes and stuff like that. I've never had an instructor for a spin class, because I always thought it was just kind of I don't know. Maybe this is an overly boomer take to begin with, but I was always you know what they say about riding a bike? It's just like riding a bike. Once you get it, you don't need that much instruction. But it's more, I almost feel like it's like fitness YouTube. Like the way that you might be listening to this to put you in the kind of position to like fall asleep. That's what the instructors are there to do, is like, as cynical as I normally am and jaded as I normally am about stuff like this, you know, when you're 20 minutes into a run and your legs are hurting a little bit and then somebody goes like, you can do it, keep it up, remember, it's not about you versus the leaderboard, it's about you versus you. I'm like, you know what, she's right. Also, I never noticed how much I liked Ed Sheeran before. Why are all these right? Ed Sheeran is like the soundtrack for the Peloton world. But it's been good. The funny part for me is just, you know, remembering that it takes time to get back into it. Like, I'm getting smoked. Like, there are leaderboards, and at first, you know, because like I've gone through the fits and starts with fitness before. As a young, able-bodied man with a not a huge fitness base, but a certain fitness base at various points in my life. Anytime there's been stuff like that, I've been like, you know, I expect to log on and be like in the top half. That is not the case this time. Getting a little older, pacing myself a little bit so that I don't, you know, succumb to injury and then it becomes just a very expensive like clothes hanger inside of my office. I'm getting passed by people. Their Peloton name is like, you know, Richmond, Virginia, mom of 6, age 60s from Virginia. And I'm like, you know what? Get it, sister. By all means. I'm taking my ego out of it for the first time in my life. And I got to admit, you're crushing me in the wattage right now. You know, more power to you. I guess you get really pumped up by this Ariana Grande song. I'm not hating on Ariana Grande, okay? They let you pick rides based on, like, you know, your fitness level and stuff like that, but they also let you pick rides based on music. I'm still looking for the one that matches my musical tastes, which is, like, maybe it could open with, like, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly soundtrack, and then play, about 75% of Music Has the Right to Children by Boards of Canada, and then just the same Steely Dan song again and again and again. That's, I haven't seen that yet, but maybe one day. So yeah, I'm not trying to, oh, you know what? You know what? Yes, I like this. I like Guppy's Paw too, but this is the play. I'm not, I think people, like, I want to, I guess, nip it in the bud. I think people are going to see the Peloton monitor, and they're going to be like, oh, this guy wants people to know that he owns a Peloton. That's not true. I mean, I don't really care, but at the same time, in general, I do not wish to be perceived. Because you see it, I want to nip it in the bud and be like, I'm not saying I'm like a big-time, you know, spandex bike guy. I'm just making an effort. I'm investing, you know, in my own health and wellness. Let's put it that way. So that's going to be our next arc for sure. I wonder if I'll become one of those psychos. Hey, did you guys see my splat score yesterday? This is the highest splat score I've ever, you know, look. I'm not knocking Orange Theory. I've never been. And as a result, it scares me. But yeah, it's cool. Also, like, I mean, I'm already kind of one of those psychos, because I'm going to bed at like 10, waking up before 7. I was like, well, what's the next step? One of the next steps is mutual funds, but having read A Random Walk Down Wall Street, it doesn't interest me. I'd rather invest, you know, broad-based, globally diversified market cap weighted index funds with a low MER. So given that the mutual funds are out, it's like, it's just straight into over-the-counter arthritis supplements like glucosamine, Robaxacet, and so on. If I'm not going to get into those, I got to become one of those morning workout sickos. That's like, oh, 7 a.m., you know, have a shot of espresso and then get on the bike. I live for it, you know. Peloton's wild too, because like, and this is not, look, I love the bike, I like the software so far, and the convenience is out of control, but it's also like kind of a social network. Like, just in case you were wondering, like, why people, like, with the Humanity Be Normal 2021 challenge, we failed it yet again. There is a feature on the Peloton where if you see someone riding on, like, the leaderboards, you can click on their name and give them a high five. Very wholesome, right? What could possibly go wrong with that? Well, unfortunately, there is no way to block people. So what has happened to some people out there, particularly women, is that maybe they've got a profile photo that's like, you know, their own face. And then there's some creeps out there. I'm not saying it's only men, but, you know, anytime I see a peeping Tom in public, there's maybe the women that do it are more sneaky about it, but it's usually like a 70-year-old guy with a pair of, you know, Coleman binoculars sitting on a bench near the beach or something like that. I hate to stereotype, but I think there's a reason that the horny old man is a bit of a stereotype, I suppose. Regardless, so what will happen is, like, you know, this guy will, like, be in a lady's class and then give her, like, a high five. And then whether or not she high fives back, they'll send her, like, a high five a minute and then, like, try to follow her on the app. And then when you know, they read it, they wrote, I should say, I read an article about this. And they, like, you know, checked their profile and they're like, he has, like, 3 billion other friends on Peloton, and they're all women who match, like, my exact type. And I'm like, oh no, come on, man. Like, you're trying to turn Peloton into, like, a, you know, boomer Facebook dating for people with the sub 15% body fat. Like, can't people just go for a bike ride? Why you gotta be so weird about it? But anyway, that's, you know, I think if you're worried about that, you gotta, well, first off, this is why, like, I think I very much limit my own interfacing with social networks that I am, like, not already a part of. You know, I'm like, try to, if I'm joining, like, you know, something like Peloton, I'll try to be pseudonymous, maybe, or anonymous. Like, I'm not too anal about it, but still. I don't necessarily want people, you know, finding my profile and being like, look at this. When he listens to You're Amazing Just the Way You Are by Bruno Mars, his heart rate goes up 20%. You know, it's like a little invasion of privacy. But it's also like, man, they gotta stop designing these apps to be like a social network. I get that that's one of the ways you make them sticky, so people stick around. They're like, I got a lot of friends on Facebook. That's how it starts. You get a lot of friends on Peloton, then all of a sudden one of your friends is like, do your own research, and you're like, I gotta choose between my morals and my friends, and I like my morals, but I'm very attached to my friends, and then all of a sudden you're protesting in front of City Hall, you know, you're having falling outs with your family. I worry about the increasingly social networkization, like the roll-up of everything into a social network. But I kind of think we're a little past it. That's my hope, at least. Like in the early 2010s, everything was about gamification. You're never gonna do chores the same way again. Why would you do chores for no benefit when instead you can get an app that when you do a chore, you log the chore, and then the chore allows you to show your friends that you got, and then you can, and from this point, and such as, you know, you get the idea. I'm willing to spend here at least to get Bookworm. Please. He's done it. The transfer. I feel like we're kind of, maybe we're not fully past it yet, but I feel like we're past, like, peak gamification of everything. And I think we're past peak social network everything as well. I don't know. I think people care more about their privacy now. It took a while. It's been a slow wake-up. But I think it's the case. Really? Plum flute? I didn't even think about the fact that this can show up outside of the boss room context. Anyway, reroll me. You know what? Reroll me. That's worth buying. We had so much money. Knapsack. I mean, 2 books is pretty sick. You know what? Toss me one of these. Why not? I'm gonna blow you up. I don't really want Dull Razor, but it's okay. What's the card? Temperance. Truly god-awful. A Spirit Heart, though. Look at, dude, with Lucky Pen. Did I get hit there? Is it like a fly or something? Okay, get me out of here. We got plays to be made. I do think we should do Boss Rush for sure. I mean, like, it was part of the ask for one. But on top of that, like, we got a pretty nice setup here. Double book. Like, this one goes out to people. I don't know if this person actually exists, but if anybody's like, oh, I hate when he rolls Satanic Bible, Mix it up a little bit. Okay, how about this, you lucky so-and-so? How about Satanic Bible plus Book of Revelations? How does that make you feel? What you think about that? Yeah, now you know how I feel. Oh, excuse me. My mistake. My mistake. And then it was a blue baby, right? Hold on, I'm tabbing. Yeah, blue baby, okay. I like permanent Polaroid invincibility. Why not? Good damage item would hit the spot. Yeah, why not, I guess? Seems good with tier effects. Plus, keep in mind, we got Twisted Pair. That's a pretty solid item. I'm so twisted, by the way. These just look like a pair to me. I don't know if anybody else is in that same boat or if I'm uniquely like the Joker. So I do have to say, I finished watching the Korean allegorical drama, Hellbound. I would say my overall rating on Hellbound, and I don't mean this to come across as overly negative, I would give it a 5 out of 10. And for most people, I think you're going to be like, you can stop right there. You know, you don't even need to talk about it anymore. But it's like an interesting 5 out of 10. If you got nothing else to watch, and honestly, I do also understand that there's been like a South Korean media boom, not just K-pop, which is maybe the most apparent example, but in particular, you know, in film, stuff like The Handmaiden, Parasite is probably the biggest example. Minari, I mean, Minari, it must be a South Korean movie, right? Even though it takes place in the United States? I don't know. But Minari is amazing. Like, Parasite's probably my favorite, but I mean, Minari is really great. Old Boy, of course, way back in the day, Train to Busan, etc., etc. The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. Anyway, on TV, of course, Squid Game probably the most common example. But if you're in like a South Korean supernatural drama sort of mood, I'm gonna tell you, it's no Squid Game. I'm not the biggest Squid Game fan on the planet, but I thought it was pretty good. But even, I'm willing to acknowledge, like, this is not, you know, Hellbound is no Squid Game. Let's put it that way. But it's still, if it's 6 episodes, 40 to 60 minutes each, if you're looking for something to do, hey, it comes highly recommended. 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 from the man himself. How could I refuse, right? I will say, of the South Korean shows that I've watched on Netflix, I will say, I find some of them a tad melodramatic, but I also think that's part of the reason that they're popular. Squid Game, I would say, is not chief amongst them, by the way. I thought that plays it pretty straight, but you know, the stereotype for Korean dramas is definitely that it's like, you know, the son of a billionaire is like a really rude guy, but then he like meets a girl who changes his life and he wants to be a better man, but then in episode 2 she dies and she becomes a ghost, but he can still hear her, and the ghost tells him how to live his life, but they're in love, and he tries to find a way to reincarnate her, but his dad is cartoonishly evil and says, hey, you stop talking to that ghost. I don't want you talking to ghosts anymore. You gotta run my steel mill. You know, it's a little, it's not subtle, let's put it that way. But of the dramas, the Korean dramas I've seen on Netflix, Squid Game's up there for sure. The second best, maybe, it was a show that came out last year with this year, very unfortunate name, DP. Look, DP, that's a good show. Anyway, that's all I got on Netflix. just that and Seinfeld over and over. Watched a little bit of Tiger King Season 2, still working on it. Because it's like, honestly, like, I don't know, can I tell you what bothered me about Tiger King Season 2? It opens with like a simulated CG shot of a Netflix data center being like overrun by people trying to watch Tiger King Season 1, because it was like, it tells like a history of, no thank you, Tiger King Season 1, and like how culturally relevant it became and how unique it was that it came out like right at the same time that the stay-at-home orders dropped in America, across the world, I guess. But And I was just like, I don't know. To me, it rubbed me the wrong way just because I was like, you're patting yourself on the back a little bit. Plus, it's not ancient history. Like, this is not context from thousands of years ago. This was last March. Like, I was here. I get it. It's popular. That's why I'm tuning into Season 2. It's like, you don't have anything better to talk about right now than, like... I mean, just to me, it said, like, hey, we're making Season 2 because Season 1 was so popular we couldn't possibly leave it there, but... Look, I'm not done with this season yet. Maybe it goes somewhere. I don't know. I can't say yes, I can't say no. But that's what I've been watching lately. Not that much. What have I been playing? Little Super Auto Pets. I feel bad for playing so much of it, but it's really fun. And also, I've been looking for other stuff, and I'm seeing minimal candidates, you know? Getting close to the holiday season, which is like a really good time most of the time for AAA games, but... I'm not really that kind of guy for the most part. You know, I don't have an ethical, like, dilemma or something. It's more like, for the most part, I just don't get, like, excited by, like, you know, it's Assassin's Creed. But this time, like, it's in Denmark. Denmark, instead of you'll swing on, oh, what the heck? I meant to say the Netherlands. Look, I don't get the Netherlands and Denmark confused. Like, if you showed me a photo of Magnus Carlsen, I would be like, Denmark. If you showed me a photo of Kim Kleisters, I would be like, Belgium. You thought you got me. You thought you got me. Wait, hold on. Kim Kleisters, Belgian? Am I thinking of Justine Ennen Arden? Regardless. I could name a Dutch athlete. Arjen Robben. How about that? There you go. You didn't think I could do it. Rob Van Persie. Is his name Rob? Or is that just... Robin, right? Robin Van Persie? Okay. I got him confused temporarily with Armin van Buren. I think it's because if you're from the Netherlands, you're not Netherlandian, you're Dutch, right? That's one of, like, the only countries that does that, at least in the English, you know, conjugation of it. Most other countries are like, oh, you're from, you know, Canada, you're Canadian. You're from America, you're American. You're from Tunisia, you're Tunisian. You're from Libya, you're Libyan, you know? The Netherlands, I don't know if it's just an English quirk. Like, maybe in English it's called the Netherlands. And in Dutch, it's called, like, Dutchburg. I don't know. I think that's why I sometimes get confused between Dutch and Danish. Is because it's another country, similar region, starts with the same letter. And there's a weird data point there that causes the confusion. I don't mean to offend my numerous Dutch and slightly less numerous Danish viewers. I've never been to the Netherlands. I have been to Denmark. I don't mean to brag. I'm very well traveled. I spent about 3 hours inside of the Copenhagen airport, transferring from Stockholm to Toronto. We're going up, man. This is a great run. I've seen a lot of countries' airports. Not really that many, but a few. I brushed my teeth in that bathroom. Well, I say that bathroom. There's probably literally like 500 bathrooms inside of the airport, but you get the idea. Anyway. Yeah, that's, I mean, I don't know. I got nothing else to say, man. It is a Monday. Give me some time for the anecdotes to refuel. How are things going with the baby? Good. Like, honestly, she's at daycare. She didn't pick up my illness. Neither did Kate, actually, which is fantastic. Like, because if we had to pull her out of daycare, and, you know, it could happen. Like, maybe it'll show up in a few days, but it has been, like, I don't know, close to a week since the onset of the symptoms that I had last week. I would think that she would be showing something by now, but if we didn't get to put her in daycare this week after, like, 1 week of... like, this constant, like, 1 week on, 1 week off, 1 week on, 1 week off, like, it would probably kill me dead. So this is a nice, like... That was a solid from the capital G-O-D upstairs. I really appreciate that. I would... And this is not as selfless as it sounds. I would gladly sign a contract that was like, I agree to get all of the colds so that my daughter gets 0. Let's ignore that that would probably, in a way, be bad for her immune system. But it would be, like, I would rather be sick and, quote-unquote, suffer through it, because it wasn't that bad. It was just, you know, kind of a icky throat for a little bit, than have the disruption to life, domestic and otherwise, that comes from a baby that's unable to go to daycare. So it's good. I feel bad for her too, getting pulled out of it. She like had gotten into this cycle where she was like just getting accustomed to the daycare. She likes the daycare provider. She's got a rapport with the other kids at the daycare. And then we'd have to pull her out for a few days. And then like when Monday rolled around, she was like, I don't know who any of these people are. You got to restart, build that from zero again. It's good. It's just good. That's all I got, really. I got like nothing on the horizon, so to speak. For the first time in a long time, just kind of feel like we're just working and chilling. Just nothing wrong with that. It tis the season for it, by the way. What the heck? Look at this. Is this allowed? I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't point out we have had some extraordinarily lucky Isaac runs. Like the last 3 or 4, maybe every one since that last loss has actually been like not only strong but very, very fast. And that's kind of like the dream. I'll stop talking up how nice it is to have like a really fast Isaac run when they give me another marathon run that's actually like fun, and it's made more fun by the fact that it's a marathon instead of less fun by the fact that it's a marathon. So if you can concoct in this game a seed that gives me a marathon run that is enjoyable, I'll stop being an a-hole about it. Otherwise, I think I come by it honestly, Fast run equals powerful most of the time. Powerful run equals more fun most of the time. I wouldn't mind being challenged, of course, but the challenge has to be, still typically like a run that's very strong, but maybe like very brittle. It doesn't have a lot of, HP to work with or something. That would be fine. Either way, we're like, the other thing worth noting here is we do have 2 books that give us HP very regularly and reliably, and then also a trinket that turns every penny into a chance to get more charges for both of those, and then also an item that when nothing gets paid out on the room pays out with 3 pennies. So it's really like it's a, dare I say, it's a bit of a novel synergy, but a fun one to be sure. That's all I got, man. I'm out of anecdotes. I'm trying to think. We didn't get up to too much this weekend. I can't remember if I mentioned that. I think 100 times. I mentioned that 100 times. That's okay. That's because I forgot whether I said it or not. Excuse me. Quit stalling. The win is in the bag. Let me go. I have been achievement hunting in Super Auto Pets. I gotta tell you, man, it is a ruthless environment right now to be achievement hunting. Just trying to get like a level 3 tabby cat is pure garbage, and then win with it. And it's impossible because, you might get like 5 wins and a level 2.5 tabby cat. Then every build you see is like, I'm surprised, level 2 dodo, level 3 rooster, tiger snake or something like that. And you're like, man, it's ruthless out there. People they've taken over the meta with the try-hard duck strategies. Anyway, not me, though. I'm built different. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. It's a great deal. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!